Are you afraid of being alone in the dark, or are you afraid you're not alone? I have never heard of an encounter quite like the one I'm about to tell you. Back in the 1930s in the rural Balkans, not every village had its own mill. Farmers often had to load their grain onto a wagon and travel to the nearest town or larger village to grind it into flour. The mill owners usually took a percentage of the flour as payment, then sold it themselves. One farmer from a small village prepared for the long journey early one morning. He hoped to reach the mill, grind his wheat, and return home before nightfall. His little daughter begged to come along, and he agreed. The wagon was heavy with sacks of wheat. The horses were well fed and strong, and the two of them set off. By midday, they reached the bigger village. The farmer was confident they would still be home before dark, but his hope faded once he arrived at the mill. Several farmers had arrived earlier, and he would have to wait his turn. To keep his daughter from becoming bored, he took her to the local market. They bought supplies for the household, fresh tobacco and matches for himself, and, since their village had no shop, he even treated her to a new rag doll. By the time they returned, it was their turn at the mill. Grinding wheat into flour was a slow process with primitive machinery. It was late afternoon before their flour was bagged and loaded back onto the wagon. The farmer would not let his daughter sleep on the sacks, as he has had to once. He was determined to make it back the same night. He decided to travel after dark. He wasn't pleased about it. Dark roads were dangerous. But he trusted his horses to know the way, even in pitch blackness. At first, the moonlight lit their path, but as they neared their own village, clouds swallowed the moon, plunging them into complete darkness. The farmer feared the wagon might overturn, or the horses might stumble into a ditch. He couldn't even see his daughter sitting beside him, only the faint outline of her white blouse. He worried she might fall from the wagon. Then suddenly, a horrible sound. His daughter was choking. She clawed at his arm, unable to speak. Panicked, he struck a match. The tiny flame revealed her face, red and twisted in pain, eyes wide, gasping for air. Then, just as quickly as the light appeared, she began breathing again. "Daddy, something was strangling me," she whispered, still catching her breath. The match burned out. Instantly, she began choking again. The farmer lit another. Once more, the girl gasped desperately for air, her face returning to normal. "It happened again, Daddy," she managed to say. But when that match burned down, the choking returned. She thrashed and fought against an invisible grip around her neck. There was nothing there, no rope, no hands, no animal, only the crushing weight of something unseen. Thinking quickly, the farmer handed her a box of matches while striking another himself. Light kept the horror at bay, but he knew they would run out before reaching home. Desperate, he filled his pipe with tobacco and lit it. The dull, glowing ember at the tip of the pipe cast just enough light. He smoked all the way home, keeping whatever was attacking his daughter at a distance. When they finally arrived, neither could sleep. At dawn, the girl's mother was horrified. Dark bruises ringed her daughter's neck. The child explained what had happened. That little girl grew up to be a grandmother, a neighbor my own mother knew well. She told my mother the story herself, and trust me, from the night of that wagon ride until the very end of her life, that woman never stepped outside after dark again. I hope this story gave you chills. If you'd like to hear more real tales like this one, follow and subscribe. If you enjoyed it, share and like. It helps me bring more of these stories back to life.